Why Amsterdam looks wrong on purpose. I've never really looked at like a map of Amsterdam or actually seen too much videos on the actual city, so not too sure why it looks wrong on purpose, but we're about to find out. Curious to see what's going on with OBF. They just posted this and it showed up on my homepage and I was like, that looks super interesting. So let's check it out. By the way, my name is Jacob, you guys. I'm an American reacting to everything overseas. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, or if you don't enjoy the video, hit the dislike button. It's all the same to me. Let's get started.
And Amsterdam is experiencing an economic boom never seen before. Thousands of rich merchants are flooding in from the fallen Antwerp that is now under Spanish control. The problem this created is very unique and is the reason why Amsterdam looks so weird. See, every one of these merchants wanted the same. It's the reason why Amsterdam looks so.
Yeah, why are the houses like... Why are they like that?
See, every one of these merchants wanted the same thing, a house with immediate access to the canals. The canals were crucial as they functioned as slow but effective highways, making them invaluable to rich merchants at the time. So, in 1613, the city council launched the most ambitious urban expansion in Europe at the time. Enter the Grachtengordel project, or the Canal Ring project. With this project,
full clarity, I did watch a video on a little bit of the canals, but it was on another video. I think it was why the Netherlands is insanely well designed. I think that was it, correct? Anyway, but didn't go back this far to kind of like explain it. So
they wanted to drain the marshland around the old city and dig a concentric system of canals, creating 3 new canals: the Herengracht, the Keizersgracht, and the Prinsengracht. It seemed crazy at the time, but they did it. This is why when you look at a map of Amsterdam today, you see this weird half circle of canals. Now, the layout of these canals is just one part of the story of why Amsterdam looks so weird. The other part is the houses on them. See, plots were standardized to 5 to 7 meters in width, which is very, very narrow. The reason was that even with this expansion, really canal access was still very limited. So the only...
This looks beautiful. Oh my gosh. I want to go here so bad. Gorgeous.
The only way to give as many people as possible access to the canals was to make the houses narrow. The problem was that no rich merchant wanted to live in a tiny, narrow house, and there was a limit to how tall they could build as well. So the only solution was to build deeper. While these canal houses are typically around 4.5 to 6.5 meters in width and 12 to 15 meters tall, they are 20 to 30 meters deep. Now, you could get a wider house. Only problem was the city taxed you based on the width of the house. So only the very wealthy did this. A perfect example of this is at the Golden Bend. Houses here are 2 to 3 times wider than the rest. Only Amsterdam's elite resided here. But the weirdness of Amsterdam's houses doesn't stop at their dimensions.
Is it still like that today? Do the elite only live there now?
The weirdness of Amsterdam's houses doesn't stop at their dimensions. Due to the narrowness of these houses, the stairs are so tight that bringing large items inside is nearly impossible. That's why if you look up at these houses, you'll often spot a hook or beam sticking out near the roof cable. These hooks were used to hoist furniture and goods up from the street, swinging them in through the windows.
Crazy.
Since they wouldn't fit up the staircase. This system was practical in the past for lifting trade goods into storage attics, and even today people use these hooks to move couches or mattresses into their attics. But these houses get even weirder. Let me show you. Look at these houses from the side. Do you see it? They lean forward. In old Amsterdam, it was required by building codes that houses get weirder. Let me show you. Look at these houses from the side. Do you see it? They lean
forward. I guess it's kind of a weird angle. Maybe a little bit on this side. I can kind of see it.
Forward. In old Amsterdam, it was required by building codes that houses tilt forward just a little bit. This deliberate forward tilt is known in Dutch as op de vluchtboeven, which I hope I pronounced decently okay. It basically...
I'm not even gonna... Hold on. I gotta try. What do you say?
Op de vluchtboeven, which I hope I pronounced decently okay. It basically means building on the run or angled forward. Until the 19th century, every new house had to lean out over the street by a few degrees. Builders even had rules for exactly how much lean was allowed, and corner buildings had to lean on both sides since they faced 2 streets. But why on earth would they mandate a forward lean? Well, for practical reasons. It made it way easier to haul up goods on those hooks. Imagine you're hoisting a heavy barrel or a sofa with a rope and hook to the top floor. A building that tilts forward a little bit means your load will hang slightly away from the facade, reducing the risk of smashing into the windows on the way up. It's a clever solution that was very much appreciated in a busy trading hub where attic warehouses were very common. Secondly, some say it just looks good. Rich Amsterdam merchants love to show off, and a forward-leaning house literally pushes its best face out for everyone to see.
It definitely gives it like some insane character. Sorry, you guys, if you hear any screaming downstairs, all my kids, everyone's inside right now. We're on tornado watch, so yeah, see, this is what we got going on right now, you guys. Action recommended, take shelter in place or per instructions in Nashville. Pretty crazy. So sorry if I'm staring out the window a little bit. Just want to make sure that it's not getting too crazy out there. All right, back to the video.
Cramped medieval streets of old Europe, buildings often jutted out as they rose, a style called jettying. And Amsterdam even continued this tradition in brick, even after wooden houses were phased out. The forward lean is one reason Amsterdam streets look so storybook-like. Houses seem to be peering down at you, each with a little mischievous tilt. But forward tilt isn't the only kind of leaning you'll notice though. Some buildings lean sideways, or slouch in one direction. Entire rows of houses can appear crooked or warped, earning nicknames like the dancing houses, because they lean at different angles. Unlike the intentional forward lean, these sideways leans are usually not on purpose. They're a consequence of Amsterdam's tricky, swampy ground and aging foundations. Here's the issue. Amsterdam is built on a marsh, and all the houses sit on wooden piles driven deep into the soft soil. Think of these piles as stilts hammered through layers of peat and clay to reach firmer sand underground. In the old days, in the 17th century, those piles were made of wood, literally whole tree trunks rammed into the ground. A typical canal house might rest on dozens of...
So, those wood tilts, obviously they have to replace them, right? All this time that's gone on, you know, dozens, hundreds of years, that wood is like completely gone, right? So they put metal in now? Like, how do you do that to a house that's already built? I'm not a contractor, so...
The Royal Palace on Dam Square, a massive building, was built atop 13,659 wooden piles driven into the mud. Without these pile foundations, the heavy brick structures would simply sink unevenly into the soggy earth, destroying the buildings over time. There is a problem with wooden piles though, because even though they work well as long as they stay wet, because submerged wood can last for centuries, when the water table drops that exposes the wood to air, it starts to rot and weaken. Over the last few hundred years, some of those old timber piles have decayed or shifted. The result is what you see here, houses that have sunk unevenly. A famous spot...
Are they ever worried about like the houses collapsing? I guess you guys don't have to worry about like... I don't know what the weather's like there. Does the weather get pretty crazy? Not tornadoes coming through your city like once a year or a couple times a year?
These houses is along the Damrak, the main avenue from Central Station,
earthquakes,
where a row of old waterfront houses tilts at various angles. Some facades also bulge or warp outward in places, a sign of stress over time, though really modern buildings use concrete or steel piles drilled much deeper. The ground is just too soft otherwise. Even some large trees in city parks sit on buried wooden piles to keep them from sinking. And the city's water authority carefully controls groundwater levels to prevent old wood foundations from rotting. It's a constant battle between Amsterdam and the swamp it's built on. Actually, the very name Amsterdam comes from Amsterdam, a dam built on the Amstel River back in the 13th century. Around the year 1270, villagers constructed a dam to hold back the frequent floods and tidal surges from the nearby Zuiderzee. That dam, where Dam Square is today, allowed them to control water levels and created a small harbour. The settlement that grew by this dam became Amsterdam, literally the dam on the Amstel. So managing water is in the city's DNA, but water still poses another threat. Much of Amsterdam and the Netherlands in general is below sea level. The city's elevation is on average about 2 meters under sea level. Without intervention, the North Sea and rivers would regularly flood this whole region. So, to prevent that, the Dutch built an extensive system of dikes, dams, and drainage. Natural sand dunes along the coast are reinforced by high dikes, and there are huge storm surge barriers and sluices to control the sea's incursions. River dikes hold back floodwaters from the Rhine and Itzuze rivers. Amsterdam itself is shielded by dikes and sea locks that keep high tides out of its canals. Inside the city, a web of canals and pumping stations continuously manages the water level. In earlier times, windmills were used to pump water out. Today, electric pumps do that job. The canals are actually engineered to function as a drainage system. They channel excess rainwater away and maintain a stable groundwater level to protect.
So much thought and engineering and work put into Amsterdam. I had absolutely no idea. It's insane.
Those precious wooden foundations. So, Amsterdam looks weird because it's basically defying nature. And by the way, the tallest structures you'll see in the central city are church spires and maybe a 17th century clock tower or two. This flat skyline is quite distinctive in fact, and there are a couple of reasons for the absence of tall buildings. One is historical and practical. As we discussed, the soft soil and reliance on wooden pile foundations made building very tall quite difficult in earlier times. The engineering simply wasn't there to support heavy, tall masonry structures on swampy ground. Additionally, Amsterdam's booming period was in the late 1600s, when architectural taste favored ornate but relatively low-rise buildings. That's why most canal houses are...
The houses here, though, like, how many stories is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 stories? They look really cool, though. Right next to this park, like, this looks gorgeous. Never known how, like, beautiful Amsterdam is.
5 stories. By the time steel-framed skyscrapers became possible in the 20th century, Amsterdam's entire central area was already built up and cherished for its historic value, which leads to the second reason: heritage preservation and zoning laws. This doesn't mean Amsterdam has 0 modern high-rises, they're just kept to certain areas outside the historic core. But that's why Amsterdam looks so weird. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Just one last thing, I made this map of Amsterdam for this video that is now available on the Map Studio store, which is my new store. If you would like to get this map, you can actually get a 20% discount right now on both the poster and the...
I might check that out. That's actually a pretty cool map. I have a map on my wall. It's of the surf tides in California. That's where I'm from. So I love maps. I might have to get that one. Check out OBF, you guys. I just found him. I don't know if this is like bigger company, but really great video. So with that said, I appreciate you guys stopping in. I hope you enjoyed it. And I learned a ton about Amsterdam. Pretty fascinating. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.